up, everybody? Yo, this beat is so nice. This shit out soon. yourself. Everybody on time, on time. Everybody minding their own inhibitions. Ooh, wee. Everybody moonlight, everybody on time, on time. Hey man. Everybody minding they own inner vision. Everybody hold on to your inner vision. Everybody on time, on time. Everybody's alright. We all coolin'. Yo, this fucking song is so simple and so fucking cool at the same time. I love the lyrics. I love the fucking, just the sound to this shit, man. I love the Gorillaz, yo. One of my favorite groups of all time, yo. Start this track back from the beginning. Yo, if y'all don't listen to Gorillaz, man, we not eye to eye. If you don't listen to Gorillaz, we not here. We not. If you like the Gorillaz, then me and you like this. Everybody see yourself. Everybody on time, on time. Everybody hold on. Everybody hold on to your inner vision. What's up? Waking and baking. What else? Oh, I know what else. Jamming to the Gorillaz. Waking, baking, Gorilla jams. That's what's good, bro. Good morning. Salute to you. Everybody on time, on time. Everybody on their own inhibition. Idaho. up, what up?
There's a beauty on the road. Every day I look out on the bus.
But hey, I got this is gonna be kind of a short stream. Not really. Probably almost average, an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. At 11:30, but I gotta go. I got an appointment for my goddamn passport. Go apply for my passport. If not this year, next year, bro. Next year, I'm gonna see the fucking pyramids, bro. Fuck all the video and goddamn photos and all that shit. I'm gonna go see them shits with my own goddamn eyes, bro. Go to the Giza Plateau, check out the pyramids. Might go to North Turkey, check out motherfucking Göbekli Tepe. Go down to goddamn to the ruins down in Mexico. I want to go to all the fucking megalithic sites, all the fucking big giant stone structures from thousands of years ago. I want to see that shit, yo. I want to touch that shit with my own fucking hands. Touch some shit that a motherfucker constructed 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. But yeah, going for my passport today. I've been bullshitting on that shit forever. Way too long. I'm getting that shit. Fuck America. Gotta go see some other shit, man.
Where the beautiful people at? I said, where the beautiful people at? Beautiful people, clap your hands. Yeah. Freaky people, clap your hands. Geeky people, clap your hands. Everybody, Hollywood is alright. Hollywood is fragrant. Jealousy is gunfire. It makes you feel the vibe. She's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, I definitely will, bro.
Sing it all well.
You know our documentaries I've been listening to a lot of fucking ancient shit about just ancient civilizations, how cultures got started. You know what I'm saying? Especially like World War One is really interesting because it's the end of empires. You know what I'm saying? They took down the Ottoman Empire, and everything became nations and nation states and everything after that. You know what I'm saying? Our way, the way that we live, and the way that our civilization is now structured through government and laws is very, very new. There's always been, a ruling body, a ruling class. There's always been government and laws, but the way we do it now is way fucking different. That's why I just want to see like the Parthenon and like all the old shit, man. I want to see, go to fucking, what's that shit that's at Jerusalem? Damn, I forgot the site at Jerusalem. Yo, MJ, my homegirl. This is one of my high school classmates. I've had this picture since last year. Just never used it yet. I kind of put it in the stash with a couple other pictures. These are just kind of one-offs, but not really, because I guess I have a series of nude paintings now, and so I'm just gonna. There's some of my series I'm gonna always add to the reader series. That's ongoing. That's my flagship series. I think that's gonna be my goddamn mantra. You know what I'm saying? Getting them books and them paintings. So y'all gonna always see that shit from me forever. As long as I can read new information and be able to present that shit to my people through my art, that's what I'm gonna do. I love the human body. I think all people are beautiful. That's why I love painting portraits, you know what I'm saying? And so my nude series, that's going to be an ongoing thing, both male and females. But when I first got started, I was asking people I know to send me some naked pictures of them. Hint, hint, wink, wink. And so a few, damn, this shit got paint on it already. I ain't even used this motherfucker yet. So a few people I know who are confident in themselves did actually send me some material to work with. Like I said, I used a few of them. I stashed a couple of them away, and so I think I might go back to just doing a couple of one-off paintings until I figure out like what my next big move is going to be. Still formulating a plan for another series. Got some concepts and ideas I want to throw around. But yeah, but this is going to be my next piece. I said this is a high school classmate of mine, known her for like 20 years now. Very, very beautiful and voluptuous woman. And so, yeah, I already got the outline and the canvas is toned. So the next step is taking some of these dark colors and applying an underpainting. I already, this is from another photographer friend of mine, and I asked him if I can use a few of his pieces, and he said yeah. So this is another piece I'm working on right now of another really beautiful young lady. I mean, her face is just like so sculpted, like she's beautiful. And got the big 90 door knocker earrings on. Damn, 2 more before the deadline? Damn, bro. As soon as you get them shits printed and published, you guys send me a copy, man. Yeah, so that piece right there, this piece right here already has one layer of paint. So that's the underpainting. I've done that a few weeks ago, so it's dry, it's ready to go. So I'm gonna get this one to look like that one, and get one layer or the underpainting on this canvas. I'll set this to the side, let that dry, and while this layer is drying, I'll start applying a second layer to that piece. And in between this first layer and that second layer, we're gonna try to get at least 1 or 2 more images on canvas. And say, so as of now, these are the only 2 projects I have going. Normally, I like to have at least four paintings that have an underpainting on it, so I can constantly flow. Israel. But there's a fucking, oh, what the fuck did I just do? There's a ancient site over there in Jerusalem. It's called, fuck, I cannot think of the name of this place right now, but it's like this rock valley, and there's all these fucking intricate carvings to these cave entrances that are actually dug out, hand dug out. Oh yeah, Rob, yeah, I'm gonna just chatting for a minute, letting everybody wake up and get in the stream. But yeah, probably in like another 20 minutes, I'm gonna start applying some colors to the face, kind of work my way that way, all the way down around the booty. You know what I'm saying? Start at the face, work my way down to the booty. There's this one place. Oh shit. All my videos are like in my YouTube history are 9/11 shit now. Like, been back on my 9/11 shit for the past couple days. Just making sure I don't ever forget any of the information. I mean, there's just a few solid facts Like, if you know those facts, you just totally obliterate the fucking official 9/11 story. But there's just like evidence on top of evidence on top of evidence on top of evidence that the shit is not what it was, bro. Hold up, give me a minute, guys. Let me see if I can find this video so I can remember the name of this fucking place I'm thinking about. Really? I'm on YouTube way too much. Petra.
Veggies are essential to your health, but it's tough to get enough of their nutrients. New wanted to.
Petra.
Today we're looking at lost ancient high technology at Petra in Jordan. If you'd like, you can join us in April 2019 when we go back for another study of this fascinating ancient place. It is absolutely huge in scale. It is 7 miles or 12 kilometers long, which most people don't know about. The stone involved, though most academics say is red sandstone or yellowish sandstone, it's actually quartzite, which has a hardness of 7 out of 10, with 10 being diamond. Now, Petra proper begins here at what's called the Seek, which is a 30 or 40 feet up is highly unlikely, because how could the carvers have gone as much as 30 or 40 feet up the vertical surface in order to make them? Looks more like machine tool marks to me. Also, this ancient channel, you see how badly damaged and eroded it is. Petra was built from 300 BC to about 100 AD by people famous at, and also pen being worked. Tiny portion of what Petra is. If you look very carefully, look to the right and left sides, and you see those 2 scoop marks that go all the way up. I think those were made by the workers who did the fine finishing work, not the original builders, because again, the sense of scale is completely insane. Also, under this grate, if you go in through that doorway, there is a chamber inside, which is supposedly about 300,000 cubic feet in size, and another one inside that.
Yeah, Petra. Like, I love any ancient, like, it's not Stone Age civilizations, but the age where they were master stone builders, master craftsmen, when they were real fucking masons, like stone masons. And these motherfuckers did some crazy. How the fuck you carve that shit out of a side of a goddamn mountain and then hollow a chamber out in that shit that's 2,400 square feet that has a harmonic resonance that zeroes down to ohm every fucking time? Ohm, ohm. How the fuck you do that shit? Where the fuck did the math, the understanding of just construction, where did all that shit originate from? That's my whole shit, yo. Like, I know everything that we can physically see was a great achievement. But the mind of the individuals that visualized and thought of these concepts and were able to put them in practice for thousands of years until they got perfected, that's the part that interests me the most. Is like, yo, the first people who ever thought about stacking some big ass stones on top of each other, yo, that shit is weird as shit, yo. Yo, they math was fucking stupid, son. They math, you know, pi, cosine, the Fibonacci sequence, all that shit, man. That shit is old as fuck. That shit is old as fuck, man. They try to attribute a lot of the fucking math to the Arabs and shit, man. These motherfuckers are doing some crazy ass math for the Arabs ever came up with algebra and all that other shit, man.
Doorway that as well is
Before Pythagorean and all that shit, these motherfuckers was
and I'll give proof
calculating
of that
some crazy ass measurements.
Later on, we'll walk into another one of these giant chambers, and there is no way that people doing this with hand tools. Cutting this hole into the bedrock like that is a hell of a lot of work. So it's quite possible.
Look how big that cave is, yo. It's just, and there are caves everywhere.
But the Nabateans found the treasury, at least the basic work, the cutting out the big chamber hall inside, etc. And then, since they were very wealthy people, because they were international in terms of...
Now this is where the white man always has to insert himself. Listen to what he says. Oh, you don't want to play now.
That they simply maybe hired Greeks to come and do all of the ornate carving of it. So again, like in many places, and then the Nabateans who arrived somewhere around 300 BC, maybe by 100 BC, they had made enough of a fortune that they were able to hire experts in other countries to embellish the work, such as here.
How you know these people ain't do all that shit themselves? How you know that? If they was able to carve out these fucking caves and construct this shit, then you say, oh, well, maybe they hired someone else to come and finish doing all the work for them. Like, we don't know that. That's just some hypothesis, bro. You don't know if the fucking Greeks came down and did that shit, man. Or did the Greeks learn these fucking techniques, learn the techniques of column erection and building from these people? You know what I'm saying? They always want to insert themselves in that shit somehow. The lighter skinned people, they always want to put the lighter skinned people, like, oh, well, they came in and then they finished it up. Like, really? Oh, okay. All right. We don't know. Maybe not. But they hired the Greeks. But shit like that, man. Petra, which is in Jordan. Pumapuku in South America, the Giza Plateau in Cairo, Egypt, motherfucking Stonehenge. I want to see all that shit, yo. Let me get my fucking passport, bro. Hey, I ain't buying no more video games, no nothing. I'm just traveling. All my money is going towards filling up, getting my fucking my passport stamped from every fucking country I go to. Fuck that. The math doesn't coincide with civilizations that was formed. What do you mean? The math doesn't coincide. People did this. Somebody did this with their hands. And whoever did it had to understand math. You know what I'm saying? It's simple how the math doesn't coincide with the civilization. It's not fake facts, you know what I'm saying? Like he didn't absolutely say it was a fact. He didn't say that. Now I give him that. He didn't say it was a fact. He said maybe, that the people of Petra, they were so wealthy, they could have hired the Greeks to come in and help with some of the more finer detailing and embellishments of these structures. But nobody don't know that shit, man. Motherfucking black and brown people been building these stone shits before the Greeks, the Romans, the Persians, before any European, any fair-skinned person was doing anything, These structures were already fucking there. They're saying that fucking Göbekli Tepe, that shit is probably 13,000 years old. 13,000 years old. They keep hiding the fact that they were finding shit in the goddamn Grand Canyon that looks like it can be fucking 12,000 years old. They hide the fact that the Aztecs say that they didn't build their fucking temples and shit. It came from an older civilization that predated them by thousands of years. And then you keep digging and you find these fucking big ass head carvings that look like Africans. Look, now, when you in high school, they teach you about the Incas, the Mayas, and the Aztecs. The Red Man. But they don't ever teach you about the Olmecs. Because if you see a picture of an Olmec head, that motherfucker look African. In Mexico. How is that possible? And then like I say, the Aztecs say they ain't built them shits. Somebody else built them shits before them. The Nabateans made crazy plumbing. I'm saying. Petra is the name of it's Petra. It's in Jordan. Petra, Jordan. It's a fucking amazing place. That shit is amazing, dude. Lost ancient technology of Petra. Baalbek is another one. Teotihuacan is another one. I mean, there's all these ancient megalithic structures that have like
and lightning, and had his main sanctuary in Hala, ruler of the other religious developed. We only know that the place was occupied of the Temple of Jupiter. Under the reign of the Septimus Severus, 193 to 211 CE, the Grand Temple of Jupiter Baal was dedicated. Severus and his son Caracalla, between 211 and 217 CE, also built the Temple of Venus and added the Propylaea to the sanctuary of Jupiter. The hexagonal court appears to have been renovated by Philip the Arab between 244 and 249 CE, but remained unfinished, and he may have also built the Temple of Mercury. With the Edict of Milan in 313 CE by Constantine the Great, Christianity was recognized. Unlike the fate that many pagan sites endured, Baalbek was not neglected or destroyed.
Yeah.
Before Roe v. Wade,
Women seeking abortion were forced to risk their health and even their lives.
Now, Trump has nominated Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court.
who would take us back?
That shit was the Oasis, yo. And plus, like on a little clip, that first clip that I saw, he showed you like going down the corridor. There's a fucking channel that they dug kind of like waist high into the edge of the fucking stone for water. They had running water and everything coming through that bitch, yo. That shit was like you said, it was like a little garden around that motherfucker. An oasis. Yeah. They had underground aquifers and shit. Above ground waterways. Like these motherfuckers, I'm telling you, bro. Like, and we think we smart nowadays because we got wireless communication and satellites and touch screen devices and shit like that. But we still can't figure out how these motherfuckers did what they did with rocks. All they had was rocks. They stacked some rocks on top of each other. We can't figure out how the fuck they stack rocks. They chiseled some rocks and carved some pillars inside of it. We can't figure out how the fuck they did that. But we smart now. We highly advanced. We're technological. We can't figure out how to stack a fucking rock. It's a big rock, but they did it. And they ain't had no spy satellites and high-speed internet and HD TV. And they figured out how to fucking stack big-ass rocks on top of each other.
Hello everybody, and welcome
Hello.
to Ancient Architects.
Hello,
The
everybody.
famous unfinished obelisk of Egypt, which sits in a granite quarry in Aswan, is known for its massive size, but also because the work that was carried out on it was never completed. Had it been finished, it would have been the largest obelisk ever constructed by ancient Egyptians. Nevertheless, the fact that it remains in an unfinished state has given us the opportunity to learn more about the ways the ancient Egyptians produced these colossal, important and iconic structures, in the same way that the unfinished...
Probably not. That's just like saying, that's just like saying a bunch of slaves built the Empire State Building or the World Trade Centers when they first went up. Like slaves built that. These structures are so massive and they reach 120 stories into the sky. Nah. You know who built the trade centers and all these our tall structures today? Very highly skilled workers. Highly skilled, highly trained professionals. That's the only way to get it done. You're not going to get a bunch of fucking people at the end of the whip, barely surviving and maintaining their humanity to build such a precise structure. You cannot do it. All of these structures are very, very precise, down to fucking centimeters. That takes a lot of skill, a lot of training, a lot of knowledge, a lot of education. Slaves ain't built none of these fucking ancient structures. None of them. Not the pyramids, nothing. Slaves didn't build the pyramids. Even our concept of slavery and the concept of slavery in antiquity are two completely different things. What we understand as slavery is chattel slavery from America. That's our basic understanding of slavery in the 21st century. That's our last real hardcore encounter with slavery is the European slave trade to the Americas, which was chattel slavery. And that was something totally different from ancient slavery. And even back then, you're not going to get a bunch of slaves to do very complicated, precise, mathematical construction projects. You're just not. It's not going to work like that. Swedish immigrants are slaves. Were they slaves? Or, you know what I'm saying? Nah, these motherfuckers was educated. They had schooling and they were educated and they were workers who got paid for what they did to earn a livelihood to support their families. Not slaves.
Moai have revealed the methods used by the people of Easter Island to produce their giant statues. The word obelisk comes from the Greek word for a spit, the long rod used to skewer food for cooking, and it was first used by Herodotus to describe these fascinating objects, clear focal points that dominated the skyline in the areas they were placed. The Greek word has obviously stuck with us, but the Egyptians used to call these monuments tekenu, which means to pierce the sky. But what actually are they? Well, as you probably know, obelisks are tapered four-sided rectangular pillars of stone with a pyramidion on top. When they were erected, they were set on bases, and by...
And that's in the center of the Vatican. Why does the Vatican have one of those? If you go outside the Louvre Museum, they have a glass pyramid. Why is that? If you look on the back of a dollar bill in America, there's a pyramid on that shit. What is the world's obsession with this fucking culture?
During the hieroglyphs, they were typically constructed to commemorate an individual or an event, or to honour the gods. The ancient Egyptians carved their obelisks from a single block of stone, almost always red granite, a type of rock that is most notably found in Aswan, in southern Egypt. Granite quarries, obelisks would be carved out of the bedrock and then transported on the waters of the River Nile to their destinations where they would be erected. They stood as proud achievements of Egyptian royalty. One of the areas in Aswan where granite was being excavated was in the Northern Quarries, which is located not far from the modern city of Aswan, and it was here that the unfinished obelisk was discovered. It is believed that the construction of this obelisk was commissioned by Hatshepsut, who reigned during the 15th century BC. Most important and formidable pharaohs of ancient Egypt, who most notably led her people to the famous land of Punt, which was considered the homeland for the ancient Egyptians. It speculated that the queen had planned to have the unfinished obelisk raised at Karnak. At this place that another obelisk of the queen's, known today as the Lateran obelisk, was set up, and it is speculated that she may have wanted the unfinished obelisk to complement it. Fortunately, the massive obelisk was never completed. At some point during its construction, the workmen discovered large cracks in the stone, and therefore it was decided to abandon the job. The unfinished obelisk has remained where it was ever since. If the obelisk had been completed, it would have reached to a height of 42 metres, and would have weighed more than 1,200 tons, which would have made it the largest obelisk ever created by the ancient Egyptians. But it is thanks to the abandonment of the unfinished obelisk that we can see the ancient tool marks, which Egyptologists say gives us a clear understanding of how these monuments were made in antiquity. Here I will outline the accepted techniques for creating the obelisk, before looking at the problems with the methods proposed. Studying the site, we are told that the Egyptians started preparing the suitable granite bedrock by making a series of holes, possibly from copper tools or harder stone, in a line at regular intervals. Next, they would hammer sun-dried wooden wedges into the holes. These wooden wedges were then repeatedly soaked with water and would gradually expand over time. And although it seems somewhat unbelievable, the power generated by the wood expanding is strong enough to break the granite bedrock and free the block. A process which is actually quite amazing, and could also explain some of the other fantastic feats of rock cutting seen in ancient Egypt. Interesting to note that the same technique for separating a block of stone from the bedrock appears to have been used by many cultures across the ancient world. Nobody ever devised a better method or technique to create such incredible feats with such basic tools.
You know, you think about this too, taking credit, but Egypt is the only civilization that has a science. What is it called? Egypt has an ology to it. There's an ology, it's Egyptology. We all know this, right? That's science. Biology, genealogy, technology. Ology means science. So there's Egyptology. But why is there no Europeanology, or Chineseology, or Africanology, or Americanology, or Indianology? But there's a fucking Egyptology. Kemet. The Egypt is some fucking Greek shit, man. The original name for that area of land was called Kemet. Kemet means blackheads, black-headed people. Land of the blackheads, Kemet. That's where you get chemistry from. That's where you get alchemy, Kemet. Alchemy, chemistry. But they want to, the Greeks started calling that shit fucking Egypt. Egypt.
In recent times, quarries use very similar methods involving making a line of holes in the rock, and instead of ramming wet wooden wedges.
And before goddamn Africanus came through that bitch, the whole landmass was called fucking Ethiopia. The whole continent was known as Ethiopia. And before it was known as Ethiopia, they called that shit Al-Kibalan. thousands and thousands of years before any other kind of man was walking around. They didn't have the names for that shit. Motherfucking America was called Turtle Island. But now, you know, we got all these other names and classifications for shit now. Fuck what the original people call that shit.
To the holes, which takes quite a long time to achieve the desired effect of splitting the rock face, modern quarrymen simply hammer metal wedges into the holes, which achieves the same result, except much quicker. Quarries, whole rock faces are loosened by putting sticks of dynamite into a sequence of drilled holes, which are then detonated by a remote-controlled device. Back in ancient Egypt, when the block of stone was finally freed from the bedrock and seen to be in one sturdy piece, the surfaces of the obelisks were levelled. Evidence suggests that contrary to popular belief that this was done using chisels, it was actually done using small hand-sized balls of the mineral dolerite to pound against the surfaces of the roughly cut obelisks. The process was continued until all the surfaces were perfectly flat. We are also told that these dolerite mallets were also used to dig around the obelisk to expose it, and to create enough space to allow the workers access to pound away the granite underneath, to detach the obelisk from the bedrock.
They did that with another rock. That's what they're saying, right?
That knock on your door?
Oh, didn't I just say genealogist?
You see, he and Trump...
That's how that shit be listed.
Dolerite is one of the few natural substances on the planet that is harder than granite, but is also quite abundant. Most other rocks would simply crumble if they were repeatedly banged against the granite. Once the finish was achieved, the scribes and hieroglyphic artists would decorate all four faces with the religious beliefs and the achievements of the pharaoh of the day. So, that's the official story, but researchers such as Brian Forster, a man who goes into the field and tries these methods for himself, disagrees. He notes that the hardness of the dolerite is about the same hardness as the granite itself, and therefore makes very little impact for the huge amount of work required. And as the unfinished obelisk is 42 metres long, this was a lot of work. It is like trying to fashion a piece of wood with another piece of wood. Then there are these grooves, about 1 to 1.5 feet in width, and cup-shaped. They are evenly spaced and evenly created, and we are told that they are made with a pounding or scraping action with the harder dolerite stone. What do you think? And then there is the problem with the underside of the obelisk. How did people get into the small gap and have enough space to bash it with a lump of stone to cause enough wear to separate it from the bedrock? Also a second unfinished obelisk at Aswan, with the same crack running through it, and hence why it was discarded. These cracks are so huge that there must have been a great deal of tension on the bedrock to cause it. Does bashing with hand-sized dolerite blocks cause a giant obelisk to crack? Or was the crack actually always there in the bedrock, an old fault line perhaps? With enough time and effort, hammerstones could have worn away the granite. It just seems somewhat nonsensical. In recent years, scientists have come up with another explanation for the excavation of the granite, known as thermal contraction. This is the rapidly heating and cooling of the granite, a method that has actually been shown to make scoop-shaped marks, like those seen on the unfinished obelisk. If we give Egyptologists and scientists the benefit of the doubt, and the problems identified are actually easily explainable, we are still left with explaining how these giant obelisks were moved. In a report written in 2007, a deep trench, at least 2.5 metres deep, was discovered as the site was being prepared for tourists. Further investigations revealed that there had once been a canal connecting the granite quarry to the Nile. We are told that once obelisks were completed, they would be simply floated on the canal towards the Nile, where they would be loaded onto barges. Itself is quite a bizarre claim, and doesn't quite explain the method for moving a 1,200 ton, 42 metre long obelisk. That's longer than 2 double-decker buses and heavier than 200 African elephants. Would this really have been floated from the quarry to the Nile? Look at it sitting in the quarry. It would have to have been lifted out of its pit and moved. And how many people would you need to lift 200 African elephants? I am yet to see a logical explanation for how they achieved this, but I am of course open to your ideas. It's only twins. I am yet to...
Alright, so how they picked that shit up out the ground? First, okay, they said where they use diorite ball stones to pound the other stones to make this shape. All the way down the side, all the way underneath the bottom. So actually the bottom, the bottom side of this is still attached to the earth. So somehow they had to separate that shit. You had to chisel down, well not chisel, ball hammer your way down, make all these flat sides, then dig underneath it enough to where you can snap it from the earth, and then lift it up out this pit, and then put it on a barge and float it down the canal, and then get it to the Nile and float it up to the to the plateau. Really? How did they stand these obelisks up? How did they make it stand up? Oh, but we smart. We know math, right? We know goddamn calculus. So the weight times the angle multiplied by the distance of the straps. I can't figure it out.
See a logical explanation for how they achieved this, but I am of course open to your ideas. Only 28 obelisks have ever been found in Egypt, whether erect, fallen or unfinished. Sadly, of these 28, only 8 remain in Egypt, as cities around the world, including Rome, London, Paris and New York, have either stolen them in antiquity or have been given them by the Egyptian officials of the 19th century. These obelisks are displayed in those countries to symbolise Christianity's victory over paganism. Some say they have an occultic significance, symbols of the historic secret societies of the Western world. Egyptian pyramids and obelisks were of great importance to Freemasons more than a century ago, and some even believe that the Great Pyramid was an ancient Masonic temple. Today, we have a 200-ton ancient Egyptian obelisk in the heart of the Vatican. A glass pyramid was built in central Paris, a giant obelisk was constructed in Washington DC, and a pyramid was placed on the back of the American dollar bill. And these are all concepts explored in depth in the fascinating book Talisman, written by Graham Hancock and Robert Bauval. People even believe that the ancient Egyptian religion and sun cult never ended, and still lives on to this day, disguised within modern religions and secret societies. What do I believe? Well, for a start, I think the creation of obelisks and their movement is still somewhat of a mystery. Brian Forster believes they are far more ancient creations, made before dynastic times but carved onto by later dynastic people, Egyptian kings and queens who claimed them for themselves. Are they therefore symbols of a far more ancient civilization? And although obelisks are universally known monuments of ancient Egypt, could they actually hark back to a much older time? Creating and then moving them in antiquity from the granite quarries, to me, is still a mystery. Were they created by primitive stone pounding, thermal contraction, or both? Or was there some sort of ancient high technology, as Brian Forster claims? Those that re-erected them in the cities of the Western world probably know the truth about the obelisks, and I'm sure they have a greater meaning today than to simply mark Christianity's triumph over the older paganistic beliefs. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Ancient Architects. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.
Subs are hot, hearty, and extraordinary. Every sub helps provide life-saving equipment for first responders. Introduce
The king. Oh, yeah. And these motherfuckers, the shit that they did learn, they really didn't learn. You know what I'm saying? They still got half-truths. They still covet and hold and motherfucking hoard the half-truths that they still got from antiquity. That's why fucking they burnt all the fucking libraries and shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the Vatican got a fucking underground library that's fucking 13 miles long, full of ancient fucking scrolls, documents, and all that shit. Nah, that stone, a mason is a builder, yo. That's all it is. That's why when you look at the Masonic symbol, it's a T square and a goddamn compass. Building shit. You know what I'm saying? Master builders, master craftsmen, Freemasons. The T square and the compass, man. Oh, where I get this from? I ain't gonna tell you. If I tell you, shit, somebody gonna ask you. They tell you about them old manuscripts, man. All the way back to the Bible and shit. Remember Nimrod? Nimrod was not in God's favor. How they worded that shit, yo, in the Bible? Nimrod was a warrior who was against God. Motherfucker, Nimrod was the one who built the Tower of Babel. See, then you got the York legend. You don't know about that shit, but just think about this though. York is in England, but then when they came to America, they had to make New York. They had to make a new one, a New York. They even talk about the dynasties right there, yo. Exile, what's up, man? Yeah, they just try to take all that shit, like you say, change it, repackage that shit. Ain't nothing fucking new. That shit ain't new. Oh my God. Okay, now look at that one stone. So this guy is walking down the stairs. Now look at that stone right there. Look how big that shit is. And now this is the thing. The older civilizations were better at this. Even all of them are ancient. But like I say, even the Egyptians knew of a more ancient civilization than them that was thousands of years that predated them, who probably were the real pyramid builders. And they say that the structure inside the pyramid is probably the main original structure, and a later civilization came out and built the point to the pyramid. But you can see always at the base, the stonework is always bigger and larger. And then up to the top here, when they try to fix it up a little bit, they can only replace it with smaller stones, because they're not able to do what the original builders had done. And there's tons of fucking sites around the world, like even in Pumapuku, you can see the original structure and foundation were these gigantic stones. And someone came in after that civilization had faded away, and it was like, oh shit, this place is dope as fuck. We should just try to fix it up a little bit. And they'll come and try to rebuild the walls back to the original height and things like that, but they couldn't do it the same way the original builders did it. They can only use like smaller stones. But when you see a big ass fucking stone like that, that shit is carved and moved to that position. How the fuck did they do that? How the fuck did they do that? Look how big it is compared to a man. That shit is fucking crazy, yo. Thick and black, boy. Thick. Like a biscuit. Like a Oreo milkshake. Like, you know, that real fluffy, sweet cornbread? Just like that. That shit almost like cake. Mm-hmm. Thicker than a Snicker.
So this really does look like it's one of the largest stones here at Baalbek. Probably the size of one of the 400-ton stones. We're just heading down towards the west side of the temple. So it's on the southern edge of the west part of the temple with the big columns here. I'm not sure the name of this part, but this has caught my attention. Not only that, over here we have a whole row of stones which are at least 12 feet tall and about 25 or 30 feet long, suggesting these are all several hundred tons. So this one is immense on its own. It'd obviously go down behind the steps. And over here we have similar sized ones, much more weathered. This must have been protected by rubble. Absolutely amazing. Baalbek is becoming my favourite megalithic site already. So we have a whole wall here, going all the way along, like a part of the foundations, part of the platform, of extremely large blocks. These weren't carved from the bedrock, these were bought from the quarry and they were placed here. Now these are in excess, these have to be more than 400 tons. It's hard to estimate at the moment. We're going to go up top and see how deep they are, maybe take some measurements if we can. They're so big it's almost impossible. But as I walk down here, you'll just see the magnitude of these. I mean, look, this is at least 12 foot tall, maybe 15 feet. Look how wide it is, it's like 12 paces. We can just see the size of the stones there with a group walking across the top. These must be like, you know, 400, maybe 500 tons each. It's incredible. They go all the way down there, right to the wall at the end.
That shit is
so we're just on
stupid, son.
The mega platform here. And you can see, as Brian Hayes has just pointed out.
And you gonna get some slaves to do that? Man, slaves be like, man, just kill me, bro. You ain't about to have me doing this shit. Ain't no slaves did that shit. The only people who did that shit was somebody who wanted to. They wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying? They could have easily built this same structure with smaller blocks. Why didn't y'all just chisel small, hand-sized blocks, make a cart? You can wheel a whole cart over there. Nah, they wanted to do that shit. They wanted to make it that fucking big. To do something, to do it the hardest, the most difficult way. You're not gonna make no slaves do that shit. Motherfuckers quit. Look, man, just kill them. Somebody wanted to do that shit. Everybody who was a part of the building construction were invested in that shit personally for, you know, the pride of their culture, their civilization, the worship of their gods, whatever they did that shit for, they wanted to do that. They wanted to, because they didn't have to make it that fucking hard. They didn't have to make it that fucking complicated and massive. I mean, motherfuckers gotta eat, gotta sleep, you got kids, you gotta raise, you got crops to tend to, animals to tend to, man. Life back then was different, you know what I'm saying? So in order to do these kind of projects, people had to completely organize and have food stocks saved up out the ass, you know what I'm saying? And have everything just right where you can work and get this shit done. Motherfucker gotta eat, gotta sleep, gotta drink, gotta live, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, that shit just amazes the fuck out of me how they were able to fucking construct these big ass blocks and just move them where the fuck they wanted to put them at.
There's like circular saw marks here, like where they've been swinging saws around. And one way or another, there's some kind of technology evident here of how they were cutting the stone. Yeah, Chester just pointed out this very fine groove join of the two stones. Really beautifully done. Then you have the kind of circular, what looks like circular saw cuts up top there. Standing right next to some of the perfectly cut blocks. They're really perfectly cut, and the joinery is insane. Almost like precision, a bit like Peru, a bit like Egypt, but working with mega supersized blocks. So all along here, these are the top of the stones that I just walked along. Just to get a sense of these, just take a little walk. Sorry about the shaky camera. This is literally on top of one of the blocks. Now look at this. I mean, you can barely fit it in the camera lens, it's so big. This doesn't stop. This just goes on and on and on. So we're just in the courtyard of the Temple of Bacchus, which you can see there. And this is where all the mega stones are, just on the opposite side. And I just walked along here. And there's more here. Behind it, there's more mega blocks. So we're not talking one layer of mega blocks, we're talking entire platform. You can see slightly smaller ones above it, quite large ones up there. They're actually quite impressive, but nothing like the ones down here and over in the wall opposite the Bacchus temple. So we are literally standing on one of the 800-ton blocks in the western wall here at Baalbek. So we're actually standing on the scaffolding on the western wall, and you can just see just about from this angle, just below me are the 800-ton stones, and below them are the 400-ton stones. So it's amazing to actually be up here, like literally on the wall itself. I'm probably not supposed to be here, but it's just worth getting some shots here so you can get kind of grasp the magnitude of some of these stones. Just over this side here, you can see the western edge. This again, just below me, is one of the 800-ton stones. And below me further with the ledge, the 400-ton stones. So these are extremely ancient, some of the largest moved stones on the planet. Also, you can see the back of some of these blocks here. They're very reminiscent of what we see in the Valley Temple and the Sphinx Temple. Similar kind of limestone, kind of rough hewn, but they have these sort of almost polygonal, irregular kind of shapes carved all over them. Okay, so I just realised what might be going on here. We see the Bacchus temple here, but just down here where this whole row of mega blocks are that we saw previously, you see the one at the end there, they kind of come down here and then they continue across here at the same level as the 800-ton and 400-ton blocks. And there's a column that's been placed there. So it seems like a smaller platform that goes to the end there, all the way down here, and then continues along there then takes a left. So like all over this area here, from here all the way over there and to the western wall behind me was the original megalithic platform, and it got extended by later cultures. This is what seems to be taking place here.
Sacha Baron Cohen is the best. You must watch his new show. Stunningly funny. Congratulations to Sacha Baron Cohen for reminding.
Could have been a strange shape. There could actually be platforms actually under the ground here in the Bacchus temple kind of courtyard. This is very, very, very strange and very interesting. But just to be able to walk here, this is what we have on the floor here, is actually one of the 800-ton blocks. We have columns embedded in the wall above it, so these are probably later. We have another column here, which is part of the wall. But here is the block that got raised about 30 feet in the air, dragged from the quarry nearly a kilometre away, and it's just impressing generations, marvelling at its magnitude since many, many thousands of years ago, potentially. So we're up right on top of the western wall here, way below me here, are the 800-ton blocks and the 400-ton blocks. Then we have the view, the beautiful mountains here, and over there as well. Absolutely amazing. What an interesting valley, the Bekaa Valley here in ancient Lebanon. So when we're talking about megaliths here at Baalbek, it's not just the big square or rectangular blocks. We have these huge columns that could have been part of the earlier temple, but more likely they were recut from the massive stones that were already here. These are more huge blocks here at Baalbek, absolutely massive ones, quite difficult to see down there, but these are in excess of 400 to 600 tons. We're hopefully going to get a chance to walk down there and take a look. And these are just part of the northern part of the site, northern wall, whereas the western wall is behind me. Then you've got the southern part over there where we saw the other big blocks. So there's this whole route of mega blocks, and these are absolutely massive. And I've seen photos of these before, but we're looking at them right from above here, so we've not got the best view, but these are absolutely massive. So down here are some of the biggest megaliths there are. Over this side, the western wall there, and all down here, some of the largest platform stones here at Baalbek. Should be able to see them. We're going to go and have a look around the outer edge. So this is a blocked doorway with almost identical kind of design in the lintel as those we find in Tiwanaku and Pumapunku in Bolivia. So that's interesting to spot that here. Whether it was a doorway to nowhere, some kind of, ceremonial portal or something else, we don't know, but it's here. So it seems like it's been deliberately blocked up by a perfectly cut piece of stone. So the other doorway with the sort of Bolivian looking lintel was around there, and this one is interesting as well. Another blocked doorway. It's very big. Brian, go and stand in front of it. I just want to get a sense of size. We've got Brian Hayes here. So this gives you a sense of the size. So it's impressive in its own right. I mean, anywhere else that would be classed as a incredibly megalithic wall and doorway and lintel, combined with all this and this. But the big stuff's over the other side, behind, over Galithic. We've got Brian.
Do y'all believe in giants? Y'all think giants ever existed? Why would you need a door that big? Look how, I mean, it's twice the size of an average man.
Yeah, so this gives you a sense of the size. So it's impressive in its own right. I mean, anywhere else that would be classed as a incredibly megalithic wall and doorway and lintel, combined with all this and this. But the big stuff's over the other side, behind, over there, where it gets really megalithic. This one actually has some kind of protrusion on it with a square hole in it. So the protrusions, obviously we see these in Peru and Egypt.
You gotta leave that speed alone, man. That amphetamine, that shit ain't good for you, man. Take your ass down bed, man.
Places. Brian Hayes has just spotted this here. In this corner, you can see where it kind of curves and then joins. So this is virtually identical, although with limestone rather than granite, as the Valley Temple. And you can see that there. We zoom in a bit, so get a bit of resolution. You can see that the way that joins, it kind of curves around, the rock is curved around. So it's quite an impressive way of doing it. And then we have these kind of things on the other side. So even though this is probably Phoenician or maybe earlier, and this is very interesting. So this is kind of facing west, and here are the mega dark blocks that we were looking at from above earlier. You can just see them here.
Not really. All right. Do you believe in dinosaurs? Let's take it from there first. Let's not jump all the way to aliens. Let's do something a little bit more down to earth. You believe in dinosaurs? I think dinosaurs existed, right? Do you believe in dinosaurs? Oh yeah. Well, and there's theories that our atmosphere was different thousands of years ago. Modern man has been around for roughly 200,000 years. That's a lot of time for our planet to change. And when you think about the dinosaurs, how did they grow so large? How did these lizards grow to be such? Well, dinosaur actually translate into terrible lizards. So how did these creatures grow to be gigantic, terrible creatures, terrible lizards? It was the overabundance of oxygen in the atmosphere that allowed almost every animal on the planet to grow to a gigantic size. Even dragonflies, insects were like, had a 3-foot wingspan. And those are in a fossil. Shit was just bigger back then. You know what I'm saying? Everything was bigger. Even plants, the leaves from plants were bigger just because of the higher oxygen content in our atmosphere. So after, the large predators died off or whatever, and mammals started to take a foothold, we probably were really large creatures too. You know what I'm saying? Larger than fucking an average human is. Even Neanderthal man was fucking, on average, Neanderthal was like 6'5". Big motherfuckers. Now, did they shrink from a larger size than that? And I don't really believe in the Bible, but I think there are some stories in the Bible that have a basis in reality, such as the flood, like Noah's Ark. That story is in almost every religion around the world. Every culture around the world has like some kind of cataclysm that restarts everything. The world was one way, and then something terrible happened, and then we had to start over. And that's in every fucking culture on every continent. Somebody has that same exact story. So that's a part of the collective human memory. We remember something like that happening. For some reason, every culture has a depiction or a concept of dragons. I don't give a fuck what continent you go to. There are stories of dragons. And I don't care what continent you go to, there are stories of giants. It just is giant people. And not saying that we all come from giants or all people were giants at one time or whatever, but I do think that the oldest civilizations that walked this earth, that were the real founders, they were probably really dark-skinned people and a hell of a lot bigger than we are. A hell of a lot bigger. Maybe 2 or 3 times our size. And probably 3 times darker than I am. But the original people were like big black motherfuckers, yo. Underground and then our oceans. I could almost believe that. I've never heard that fact before, but I can almost believe that. But yeah, when you go to these ancient sites like this and you see the doorways that they made, like, why? Why is that door so big? Who the fuck needs to walk through a door that big? For what reason? I don't know. Even again, like the Nephilim in the Bible were fucking the giants, the man of renown, the ones of old. Who are these people? You know, and Goliath. You know, and even you can look at all the Greek titans and all these motherfuckers and demigods and everything. Yo, it's in every fucking culture. Even Quetzalcoatl was supposed to be like some giant white dude or some shit. I don't know. I don't absolutely 100% believe in giants, but I don't X that one out off my possibilities list. I think giants are more possible than aliens. I mean, at least they do. A giant person can come from this planet. And when you look at gigantism, deformities in some people, I don't think there's a lot of cases now. I think there's a Jamaican girl. She's like in her teenage years and she's like 7 feet tall. And you know, every once in a while we get these fucking Yao Ming motherfuckers. That's in our DNA. That's in our genetic code. And what if the Jamaican girl and Yao Ming had a kid? Then their kid would be fucking tall as shit. You know, if they had, you know, and their tall ass kid dated somebody who was taller than she was and they had kids, then that's how you know what I'm saying? It's in our code to be fucking big and fucking tall. You know what I'm saying? Like Shaq size motherfuckers are even bigger than that. You know, 7, 8 feet tall. Motherfuckers can reach that height, and we have instances where people are fucking Yao Ming. You know what I'm saying? We have instances where people are extremely above average height. And once again, if you constantly breed with those same genes of extremely tall people, you're gonna have a lineage of extra tall people. Why can't you believe that, you know, giants, just like we basically do selective reproduction nowadays. You know, when you search out a mate, do you want some fat, sloppy, ball-looking motherfucker? Not really. Why? Because physically it's unattractive, but on a deeper level, genetically, you're looking at his bald head, so that's in his genetic code. His weight gain and everything like that is in his genetic code. He doesn't look athletic. He doesn't look to be an alpha male. You know what I'm saying? So maybe in antiquity, a motherfucker who was 8 feet tall was more desirable than everybody else. Maybe women who were 7 feet tall were more desirable, and that's how they chose their fucking mates. And maybe we did have a race of giant people that lived one time. Ossus laptitius. Laptitius? Know what the fuck that is? Never heard that genus species name for Eustra lapithius. Can't even say that shit. I'm not buying it. See, I don't buy it. I don't buy that shit, man. Alright, say this then. Cause I'm from the South. I know some black ass motherfuckers. I know real dark skinned motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? You think if you get a beautiful black ass man and a beautiful black ass woman and they had kids, what their baby gonna look like? A piece of coal. That motherfucker come out black. Not unless you hit with that slim chance of being an albinism. But other than that, you get a dark skinned woman and a dark skinned man, you're gonna have a dark skinned baby. And if that dark skinned baby see the beauty in their skin and they go find a dark skinned mate and they mate again, they gonna have more dark skinned babies. Just like tall people, man. Once again, man, I know you're not buying it, but who's true? Oh, the Sophatiliasis thesaurus? Thesaurus? Ossus. And the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and that they were beautiful, and took unto them all they would please, and went into them, and made kids, who were the men of renown, the old ones. Now, when I read that shit in the Bible, I was like, what the fuck is this? What does this mean? What are you trying to tell me, Bible? I thought God gave his only begotten son, Jesus, because he fucked Mary raw, had a baby with her. But then in Genesis, you say the sons of God. That's plural. How many fucking kids do you have? Oh, you got plenty of kids. You just got one begotten son. You gave us the fucking bastard reject to die for the sins and shit, right? It's bullshit. It don't make no fucking sense at all. Don't make sense.
See how big they are? They are remarkable. Wow. These are absolutely massive.
Massive.
So let's just take a walk along this wall here, and I'm gonna just turn the camera around on me so you can just get a sense of the size of these as we walk along compared to me. And I'm like walking just a couple of feet away from the wall. It does actually look like this could have been part of the construction, part of the entrance to this particular part of the temple. It may have been a temple to Baal. It may have been an earlier temple to other gods, to the Titan.
A chigger. You know what? If a black man fuck any woman, they gonna have brown babies. Why is that? Because we the most dominant. We gonna change how you fucking look. Or you might keep that stringy ass hair, but everything else, you gonna have some color in your ass. I don't give a fuck if I fuck an Italian, a Chinese, a white lady, or I put this sperm up in it, them babies gonna be brown. Brown. Noticeably different. Now, if a white man and an Asian woman have kids together, it's kind of hard to say. Sometimes if a white person and a Puerto Rican have kids together, it's kind of hard to say. But if I go up in there, a black man go up in there, especially a dark-skinned brother, oh, watch out now. Yeah, you're going to have a chigger. A nice brown one, too. Maybe the giants were aliens. You're on to something. Giants came down from space. Maybe God is an alien. Well, if God is an alien, and then that is the Anunnaki story, basically. Basically, the aliens are our gods. Anunnaki. I don't think so, though. I don't believe that. Maybe aliens don't exist. Aliens, well, look, bro. This is when you think about aliens and you want to really get a good perception on aliens, you go to my homeboy's channel, Isaac Author. The name of his channel is Science and Futurism with Isaac Author. And he goes over the Fermi Paradox. What is the Fermi Paradox? The Fermi Paradox is the reason we don't see aliens. Well, listen, man. The elongated skull is a purposefully done thing. You know what I'm saying? You can shape the skull of a baby. Even in we find in some ancient cultures where they stretch their lips real big and get that plate in their lip and stretch their lips out real big, or gauge their ears. You know, the hipsters have made that a trend now, but that's like an African tribal thing, gauging your ears. Even constantly putting rings around your neck to stretch your fucking neck to have a really long neck. And there are some cases where women have stretched their neck so long they can't take the rings off, because if they do, they'll have that floppy neck. But and shaping the head. You know, when the baby is born, the head is really malleable. The skull is actually several different plates that have to fuse together, and the bones are still soft at birth. So if you take a baby's head and you wrap it and kind of shape it, and as it hardens, it'll fucking go into a cone shape, and that was considered beautiful. You know what I'm saying? That was a sign of beauty to have your head look like that. Motherfuckers can't get past the Van Allen radiation belt. Motherfuckers don't know if we ever went into space or not, yo.
It's Kronos or Cain, who was said to be one of the builders, and they were all linked and connected with the Nephilim, a biblical tradition. And it really does seem like if anyone's going to have built this, it was giants. Let's just take a look further down here, because these are big. These are just a different league to most of the site. Very, very impressive. So you can just get a sense of scale here. These are at least, what, 12 feet tall, 25 feet long, probably 12, 15 feet wide, probably weighing 400 tons each, within the interior of the northern wall that connects with the western wall right down at the other end. So this is obviously one of the super ancient foundations, although there are slightly smaller stones propping the big stones up. So this is where this stone begins. See how far it goes this way. It's just ridiculous. Again, like we find even in the huge stone underground in Jerusalem, we find these holes in them, which seems to be a design spec of whoever did this. Also, it's a darker type of limestone. Whether that's some kind of weathering that's done this, I don't know, because some bits are broken off, and you can actually see that that may not be the case. It could actually just be like that. It could be a different quality, from a slightly different quarry. But these could easily have been quarried from the famous Baalbek quarry, where the stone of the pregnant woman is, because it's the same kind of size. God, that's incredible. So we're actually on top of this wall now. You can see
Australopithecus. Origins of genus Homo Australopithecus, the early hominid. 10 mysteriously extinct human species. Homo sapiens, the birth of humanity. Ape to man, the first boom. If we evolved from apes, why are apes still here? Why do we still have monkeys? If that's where we came from. So weird, man. It's so fucking weird. I'm confused. It confuses me.
That's one side of it. See the sheer magnitude of these. Oh my goodness. You've got one that's protruding outwards. This one's been shaped. But to be able to walk on this is really quite a treat.
Why are there
We're
still
looking down
monkeys?
upon this from above, remember?
Why are there still monkeys? I don't know. It's weird. And then, so if we didn't come from monkeys, that means evolution has its flaws. And then you got to turn to creation. Creation definitely has its flaws, because God made everything. God knows everything. God is all-seeing, all-knowing, all-powerful. And there was nothing before God. And you got to pray to him, and when you die, he might bring you back up to where he's at to be brothers and sisters with everybody. That's incest. We're all brothers and sisters in the name of Christ. That's incest. We're all children of God. Children? I'm a grown-ass fucking man. I'm not a child of anybody. It's so confusing. So I started to ponder the intelligent design theory, which kind of makes sense to me since I am spiritual and scientific. I have to merge these things together. A merger. Breezy. Hey, I ain't got no shirt on today. Topless painting. I'm only doing this for the women. Yo, awesome sauce. Do you think giants ever existed? Like giant people? That's what we're debating. If Jesus is the son of God, who's godparents? Exactly. And if Adam and Eve were the first man and woman, how come every depiction of Adam and Eve from some illustrators or artists' minds, they have navels? This only comes if you're attached inside your mother goddess. You have to be inside the triple blackness of a womb to get one of these. But every time we see a painting or a drawing of Adam and Eve, they have belly buttons. That's not correct. If they were created from dust, they shouldn't even have a belly button. It's weird. It's so fucking weird. Little shit like that pisses me off. I can't even get that right. Well, not now, but I'm thinking, like, my whole theory is back in antiquity, I started with the dinosaur reference. Like, we've had gigantic animals on this planet. There have been really, really big creatures. And we still have pretty large animals. Look at whales, look at elephants, rhinos, even though rhinos and elephants, we're going to, make those extinct pretty soon. But we have had, and rhinos and elephants and whales are mammals. And we've had animals to grow to a tremendous size. And who's to say that, in antiquity that humans didn't have that same ability to be really just large people. Look at all the major basketball players, man. These dudes are like 6'6", 6'7". Now just imagine once again, yo, if a man who's 6'7" tall, if he marries a lady who's 6 feet tall and they have kids, man, their kids are more than likely gonna be like 6 feet tall. And if you keep those same tall genetics in your family for a couple generations, you're basically gonna have a whole family, like 87 people, the same size as Shaq or bigger. And they will be giants. They'll look like, you'll look up at all like, what the fuck? Where the fuck? And then even out of that group of people, you'll have the extreme ones, like a motherfucker who's 11 feet tall. Somebody who's fucking 12 and a half feet tall. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? And I really do believe that there were, even, there's one tribe in Africa. God damn, I can't think of these people's names. They're so beautiful. And their skin color is they're like this really dark cinnamon color. They're so beautiful, yo. But the men, their average height is 6 feet. The average height of an American male is 5'8". It's 5'8". That's average in America. In this African tribe, their average height is about 6 feet, 6'1". That's about how tall everybody is. And then you have your extreme cases where somebody's like 6'5". You know what I'm saying? But that's just because that's in their genes. Their culture, they breed within their community, and the women are tall and the men are tall. And it's just, that's just how they are. It's normal to their ass, you know? Shaq is a for real giant. Cleopatra Elizabeth Taylor. She looks so fair. When they reconstructed that shit, it was like, that's supposed to be who? That shit look like Liz Taylor. That shit look like Liz Taylor. I don't know. Once again, and I asked you about giants because I'm just looking at ancient structures, ancient megalithic sites all around the world, and this dude is walking around the Baalbek Temple in Lebanon, and these blocks are just, they always fucking amaze me, especially if you guys watch something on Puma Punku. They have, oh my god, it's like, who the fuck did this shit? And why? Like, why did you make it so hard? You can build this exact same temple structure, the same size and everything, with just small blocks that you can pick up with your hands. Why couldn't you just chisel a block and pick it up with your hands and do it that way? You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, they made this shit 800-ton blocks, 400-ton blocks. Why? Why did you make it so hard to do that? Why did y'all fucking make it so big? Why did it have to be so big? If you can make a big ass block like that, I'm pretty sure you can make little smaller blocks. Why didn't you make all of them small? Your steps, you made steps out of little small blocks. Why you ain't build your walls out of little small blocks? Motherfuckers had to do this shit the most complicated way they can possibly figure out how to do that shit. And I'm just assuming you had to be not superhumans, not aliens, but maybe like more than what we are, just bigger people, just bigger, stronger, sturdier people. Because when you look at some of the doorways, the doorway entrances are twice the size of an average man, twice the size. Why does it have to be so big? If you and I are the same size, why the fuck you need a doorway that's 13 fucking feet tall? Maybe the people walking through it were 12 feet tall.
It's like walking on a... Oh my god, it's so strange. This is incredible. It's got the squares in it, holes in it, carved out the solid blocks. We're basically almost going to walk up to the western wall if we keep going. You can see the weathering on this is amazing and extremely ancient. So I'm just going to walk the full length of this. I'm sorry about the shaky camera. The Osmo's out of battery, unfortunately, but this is still pretty cool. Wow, this is such a treat to be able to walk on this. You can see the extreme weathered limestone with moss, lichen all over
That's
it.
thousands and thousands of years to weather that fucking block away like that.
There's a niche there. We're kind of up to the end here. We're almost at the corner of the western wall. So we see little pieces cut out here. The sun will come round in a minute and light it up. And these are probably the famous sort of shaped blocks that make up the first part, the northern western corner of the western wall. And there we have it going all the way to the end. You can see Chester walking along there. So this just shows you the magnificence and size of what we're dealing with here. Even over here you've got blocks that look like they're puffy, almost polygonal, with protrusions on, not dissimilar to what we find on some of the pyramids and at the Sphinx and Valley Temple in Giza. So we have to question, is there a connection here with the people who built that? We know there is. Whether they were the same builders is a whole other question. More holes here, all along here right at the end where it joins the main wall. Baalbek. And there's no explanation as to who did them, why they were done, why they needed to use such large blocks, but they did. And here's the evidence.
Why did they need to use such large blocks? We don't fucking know. Why did you have to build that shit so big like that?
It really does feel like we're in the Temple of the Giants here at Baalbek today. You can see these stones behind me. The doorway is like 10 or 12 feet tall. And then we go further down here and it just gets ridiculous. These stones are just outrageous. You can see that all the way along this wall. It must be like 100 meters long. We've got the one at the end here, which joins with the western wall. We're going to go around there, look at the outside of this wall first, and then go to the western wall. Should have some really good light on it now. So this is the northern wall. It's not known as anything here really. It's just part of the...
Yeah, I can watch shit like this is what I do when I'm off stream. I do this shit all day. Like, this shit really fascinates me. Motherfucking the Fire Stick and YouTube are my best fucking friends, yo. Keep the dinosaurs out of this. Oh, that's why they built the walls, to keep the dinosaurs out. We need these big ass fucking walls, man. You seen that Triceratops ate Henry yesterday? Ran right up on him while he was farming some corn. Man, fuck that. That's why I'm gonna go outside the walls. That can be a good movie plot, like, you know, some fantasy altered, some altered past shit, like how did Inglourious Bastards. I love Quentin Tarantino's version of World War II. You know, it's a real scenario, what historically happened, and he goes in there, he alters what happened, and he fucking kills Hitler, and it was, Inglourious Bastards was such a cool ass movie. But doing that, like a scenario like that with some of these ancient structures, like you said, maybe dinosaurs and humans existed at the same time, And that's why these fucking structures were so big. They try to keep these fucking beasts on the outside of they fucking cities and shit. I might have to try to write some shit down like that, man. Just gave me a good idea. Yo, this shit is fascinating to me anyway. I find this shit very, very interesting. And once again, like, I'm on a device that I can basically look up any information I want at the same time talking through a camera and a microphone and streaming a live audio video around the fucking globe right now. This shit is what I'm doing right now is fucking amazing. But even though we have accomplished all of this, we can't figure out how these motherfuckers stack rocks on top of each other. That's what kills me. That's what gets me. We launch rockets in space and fucking satellites and we all kind of shit, man. But you can't tell me how they stack these stones on top of each other. Tell me that. Oh, okay, yeah, I can make a wireless call to France right now. Triangulation from satellite. That's all good. Tell me how they stack these rocks on top of each other. Okay.
Next to the western wall, just waiting for the sun to shine so we get some good light. This is the way in. It's been blocked up now, but you can climb through. And that's where it's really impressive. That's where we've just been inside and seen it all from within. But it continues up here. So let's go and take a look at what we're really here for, the 800 tons Trilithon. 3 stones, 800 tons each, still in the wall.
That's the thing, yo. Big, humongous stones. How they stack them.
So this is the famous Western Wall. You can see the huge 3 trilithons. They're not this level. These are the 400-ton stones. So one's above. 3 of those, 800 plus tons each. They came from the same quarry or nearby as a stone of the pregnant woman. So it's pretty impressive. Even the stones just going around this side, the 400 tonners, and going along here, still very impressive. Just to give you a sense of scale, I'm standing right next to it. This is just utterly remarkable and just a deep antiquity without a doubt. So just below that bush there, that's where the seam is. And then that continues all the way around here and goes around the side here quite a long way. So that alone is incredibly impressive. So we're just looking at trying to find the seam, and you can just see there, God, you can barely see it. It's so tight, it's almost invisible. That there is the seam, the join in this rock, and it's so precise you couldn't fit a card between the rocks there. That's remarkable for such large size blocks, especially being limestone, which is quite rough hewn in itself naturally. This is a good quality, obviously, type of limestone they've used. But let's remember the ones above there as well, because these are very high up. They're at least 30 feet up from the ground level, and these are 800 tons. So imagine how many people, how much effort that would take to bring from the quarry. There's been estimates done of.
I've seen everybody wondering, I wonder how they built the pyramids. Well, they probably used ramps and pulleys and sleds and log rollers, and well, they could have did it this way, and well, maybe if they had cranes with levees and pulleys and weights and elephants, it probably was a. Everybody always try to figure out how they built the pyramid. They don't try to figure out how they built these shits. Tell me how they did that. No, y'all ain't got no expert engineers and architects out there trying to redo the construction site on these places. Nah, everybody just want to fiddle around with Egypt. I listen to Akala on a daily basis, yo. Let me see. It's gonna be weird. Let me go back to my history. History. Oh no. No. Yeah, I was just listening to some of his stuff the other day. Not even his music. Like, I know he's a rapper and everything, and that's how I found them to start with. Him and the Arab dude who be rapping. He kind of sound like Akala a little bit, but he like some Arab guy. I can't remember that fucker name, yo. But yeah, I got into Akala a couple years just going, like when I was writing music, and I tried to start writing some more conscious shit, and came across some of his shit, and I was like, oh hell. And then a few years later, I seen him just like giving a talk. I was like, what the fuck? And he was on the debate panel, so I listened to all his lectures, all his debates, all his fucking interviews and everything. Like, I listen to his words like that more than his fucking music now. I know he does like hip hop Shakespeare or some shit like that. He's doing like poetry on stage and shit, but I haven't really heard any of that shit yet. Wow, it must have been last week sometime, but I did just listen to like some of the last stuff. One of his panel discussions he was on, he roasted the girl over they were talking about economics and giving kids who graduate from high school some kind of government stipend or something. Oh, I can't find that shit. Like I say, man, my YouTube history is crazy because I'm on this shit all day, every day. Alright, this just the other day, right there, Akala, Marco Grove, Ed Balls on Press and Media. But yeah, this is my history. Listening to some Immortal Technique, some Joe Rogan shows, watching, I guess I watched my own self, some lo-fi jazz hip hop, some Akala, some Bill Burr, Paintings by the Prince, Bill Burr. How to clean and wash oil brushes, acrylic and oil painting tips. Yes, I still ask other people for tips about painting. Bill Burr. Boston Dynamics. Watch Boston Dynamics Atlas go for a run. That shit is crazy. That's the beginning of the Terminator right there. And Google owns this company. So Google bought Boston Dynamics and they bought DeepMind, which is a fucking AI company. So they have an AI company and a robot company. So you put those two together, you have this shit. No, that shit is not fucking tethered, and no, it's not running on a fucking flat ground. This shit is on uneven ground outside. That's Spot Mini. Look at this motherfucker. Oh my god, it's the fucking Terminator, son. Put a gun in his hand. That's all you gotta do. Give it a gun. All you gotta do, man, get that bitch a gun. And just say, shoot anything this dark. Shoot anything dark skin. That motherfucker is, oh my god, that shit is so scary to look at, bro. That shit gives me the fucking creeps. Holy shit, even that Spot Mini, that little robot that comes, the little yellow robot, looks how cute and shit. Put a gun on that bitch. You don't think they got them shits already with guns on them? Talking about in that Florida shooting a couple years ago, the dude shot up the gay nightclub or something, say he was held up somewhere, and they drove a little robot in there with a bomb on it. Boom! Blew his ass the fuck up. I said, yeah. They probably used one of them little spot minis and walked that shit right in the. Cause them shits they got the new one with the fucking hand on this shit. Shit can open doors and everything. Oh, them robots coming to kill your ass now, son. Robots coming to kill you. It's crazy. It's crazy, son.
We all know.
Yeah, it's like that with Rogan. You know, I like him. I don't always agree with him. Trust me, I really don't.
But where to start? That's where Stash Invest comes in.
He had this one racist chick on there one time, and this bitch is talking all this kind of racist shit, and he was agreeing with her on a lot of stuff, and I was like, really, Joe? You agree with that? And it's like, I don't agree with him all the time. I really don't. But I think he's funny as shit. I think he still has a pretty cool personality. I don't think that he's personally, I don't think he's racist. But I still listen to him. You know what I'm saying? He introduces me to a lot of other people that I wouldn't even know about. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like Joe Rogan. You know what I'm saying? He's had Bill Burr on his show. He's had Kid Cudi on his show. You know what I'm saying? He has some people I like on his show. He has Graham Hancock on his show a couple times. I love Graham Hancock. You know what I'm saying? And there is a lot of people that has been on this show that I've never heard of before that I thought were pretty cool personalities just because I heard them on Joe Rogan. Yeah, but you know, like I say, no matter who I listen to, who I listen to or who I read or any documentaries I watch, and I don't always agree with them shits 100%. Like I showed you guys the documentary the dude was walking through Petra. And that's cool. He's there, he has a camera, we can see it. But on top of, you know, all the facts and information and the visuals he's giving us, he put his own little opinions and his own thoughts in there. And I don't have to agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how it is. I try to listen to everything and listen to everybody. That's the only way you're gonna really have a good, well-rounded view of the world. Everybody ain't gonna think like you, and sometimes it's best to talk with people or listen to people who don't think like you. Most of the time it helps strengthen your points of view. Or it could open you up to different points of view and different avenues of thought that you never even considered taking before, you know? I love my Black Power shit. I gotta listen to what these other motherfuckers be saying too. You know what I'm saying? Gotta listen to what the fuck they be talking about, bro. And it ain't always about us, you know what I'm saying? I just try to listen to everybody, yo. Rogan is one of the people I like better. I can laugh with Joe sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Once again, even without agreeing with him, you know what I'm saying? I can still listen to a whole podcast and only agree with him about half the time. He just makes it interesting, you know what I'm saying? He be sitting there, motherfucker be high as shit, joking, laughing, he's just like me, you know, giving his own. He knows his shit. Joe is not no dummy. The motherfucker smart as shit. You know what I'm saying? He been around. He's been in the Hollywood industry. He's done TV shows. He's fought professionally. You know what I'm saying? He's not no young guy. He's a major pot advocate. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a cool guy. I just don't agree with everything we just don't agree on everything. That shit. That's me and my best friend. Shit, my best friend since 9th grade. And man, this motherfucker don't agree on everything all the time. You know what I'm saying? He still go to church and shit like that. It's just like, you know, you ain't gonna always agree with everybody. Not unless you some fucking yes man, kiss ass motherfucker. Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah, sure. Oh yeah, you're right. Yep. Oh yeah. That ain't me, bro.
500 people moving it around, but even if you did that, that's over a ton each. If they're 800 tons, 800 people would be 1 ton each. So get real. Just how would you do that? And there's no evidence the Romans did that. That's why it's often said that giants did it. There's also some traditions that say demons did it, much like we get places like Avebury and megalithic sites in England, which can't be explained at all.
Where?
Often said that giants did it. There's also some traditions that say demons did it, much like we get places like Avebury and megalithic sites in England, which can't.
Avebury? Avebury? What the fuck are you saying, dude? Weird ass accent. And where in England? I gotta check this out.
Said that giants did it. There's also some traditions that say demons did it, much like we get places like Avebury and megalithic sites in England, which can't be.
Avebury? England? Clearly, I'm not spelling that right. Damn, my phone about to die.
At all.
I'm charging the whole time.
Just to give a bit of reference here, I mean, I've said this a few times already, there's 800 ton blocks on top there, in the middle of the wall, and then below that are at least 400 ton blocks. So there's something like, you know.
Vatican, Peter, and Satan's throne. I've probably watched that shit, bro. Honestly. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I watched a lot of Vatican documentaries. I actually haven't watched this one.
Greetings, friends. This is Dr. Bob Thiel, and here we are in Vatican City, and we're going to eventually go into St. Peter's Basilica, which is that building right over there. This basilica was actually designed primarily by Donatello Bramante, Michelangelo, Carlo Madero.
And once again, right in the center of the city, you can see the obelisk is right there, yo. Can't help but miss that shit. Got that shit on camera, not even intentionally. He's talking about the fucking building back here. But that's that shit straight from fucking Egypt, yo, stolen. Oh, they the most gangsters. The Vatican is their own fucking city nation. You know what I'm saying? To even live in Vatican, you gotta have special papers to even work in that bitch, to live in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? They only 3 fucking real independent city states, like the Vatican, the City of London, and Washington D.C. And that's where all the fucking real government and financial decisions take place, yo. You know what I'm saying? D.C. is not a state; it's a district of Columbia. Look that shit up. Why is Washington called District of Columbia? You know what I'm saying? Why does London, inside of London, there's a place called the City of London, inside the City of London? What the fuck is that? And what the fuck is Vatican City? You know what I'm saying? These shits are the major powerhouses of influence globally. You know? Major, that's globally. And the Pope is motherfucking the voice of God. Literally. He's the voice of God. And they got that fucking library, bruh, that hoards all the real information, all that real knowledge shit, bruh. The shit that we know, well, that shit like a goddamn scratch and sniff. And we can almost smell some artificial chocolate. Them bitches got the cake down there. They got the whole chocolate cake down that bitch. The whole cake. And we get a little scratch and sniff like, oh, it smells like chocolate. Nah, bitch, the shit we know ain't shit, man. It ain't shit compared to actually taking a slice of that cake and eating that shit and really having that shit, yo. It ain't, man, we'll never know that shit, yo, ever. Them motherfuckers will destroy that shit before they let that shit get out.
And Gian Lorenzo Bernini. It's supposed to be one of the most renowned works of the Renaissance churches, of its architecture. It's one of the largest churches in the world. It remains a major site for the Roman Catholic Church. Now, this is not the cathedral for the Roman Catholic Church. Actually, the primary one is St. John's, which has the seat of the Pope, which is why they consider that to be the primary church. But because the Pope lives in Vatican City and the square is so large, most things that you'll see in public are actually done here. According to Catholic tradition, which does not seem to have a historical basis, Peter came here, he died here, supposedly buried here, and I'll talk about that later. This is one of the four major basilicas that the Church of Rome has within the city of Rome. Others are the Basilica of St. John, which is one I mentioned before, which is actually where the Catholics claim to have their cathedra. There's also one called St. Maria Maggiore, and there's also one called St. Paul's, which is just outside the Vatican walls. Now, this is the most prominent building in Vatican City. And it was the dome itself was completed in 1590, which is the last year of the reign of Pope Sixtus V. There's over 100 tombs below in St. Peter's Basilica. Many are in a grotto beneath it. It's supposed to be 91 popes. Also, Ignatius of Antioch, who was probably in the Church of God, he's buried there. Some other famous people were there as well.
The Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch. 1, 2, 5.
Below the crypt, there are more tombs.
My bad. I'm sorry. I won't do that again.
A lot of statues inside. Again, in the end, it's not the Church of God versus the Protestant faith, but toward the time of the end, it's actually the Church of God versus a revived ecumenical Roman Catholic faith. And it's important for us to understand where they're coming from. We need to understand what their arguments are. We need to understand how Satan has used this particular church and how he intends to use this church so that we can do our job to answer those questions of those who ask questions of us, but to understand the truth which will set us free. Well, anyway, we're going to now go inside of the Basilica, and we'll resume filming in there. Was Peter the Rock who alone received the keys to the kingdom? Right now we're on the inside of the outside walls to get into St. Peter's. They've changed the procedure on how to get in here, so we decided to start filming again outside as opposed to inside. The basic Catholic position is that Jesus gave authority to Peter and only to Peter to lead his church. Even though that does not agree with records that the early Catholic writers came up with, people the Catholics consider to be saints. But I'd like to read the major position that the Church of Rome holds, or at least most people in it do, and this is from the Catholic Encyclopedia under Apostolic Succession. Quote, "The fact is indisputable. The bishops of Rome took over Peter's chair in Peter's office of continuing the work of Christ." To continue, the Roman Church before Constantine said that. Then it says in the Catholic Encyclopedia, to be in continuity with the church founded by Christ by affiliation, the See of Peter, is necessary for its
The Roman Church before Constantine, fucking Christ was still up in the air before that, as his divinity. Because Constantine was the one who ordered the Nicene Council of fucking 325 AD. So, I don't know. Even before that shit, man, a lot of motherfuckers ain't worship Jesus as the Christ. Even the Jews say that shit. Like, he wasn't, like,
son of God. He was just like a prophet or some shit. But a lot of other people had that same belief that there was no divine son of God prior to the fucking Nicene Council.
Of history, there was no other church linked to any other apostle by an unbroken chain of successors. So while that's the position that most in the Church of Rome hold, that's actually very disputable for lots of reasons, including the fact that there's no actual proof that Peter was ever in Rome. Furthermore, we're going to go through the scriptures in Matthew 16, where some have claimed, or in recent centuries have claimed, that the authority was given to Peter and Peter alone by Jesus. But that simply is not the case. But there are some things that the Church of Rome says about Peter which is absolutely true. Now this is also from the Catholic Encyclopedia. This is from an article called St. Peter, the Prince of the Apostles. Quote, Christ himself unmistakably accords Peter a special precedence in the first place among the apostles and designates him for such on various occasions. Peter was one of 3 apostles, with James and John, who were with Christ on certain special occasions: the raising of the daughter of Jairus from the dead, the transfiguration of Christ, the agony of the Garden of Gethsemane. On several occasions, also, Christ favored him amongst all others. Now, I'm stopping the quote for a second and say, this actually is true. Peter did have a preeminence above the other apostles, while he was alive. Not after he died, but while he was alive, he certainly was preeminent and did do various things with Jesus, and did have a relationship with him, and got to do some things others didn't do. For example, the Catholic Encyclopedia continues.
It's always hard for me. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost definite I can learn something from this just by him showing me different portions inside of this chapel. But at the same time, it's so hard for me to listen to somebody who literally think Jesus Christ was a real person. Like, dude, just get over that shit, bro. Oh my God, it says right here in the Bible that Peter was the right-hand man in life, but when he died, all that shit went back, son. Church has no claim, son, no claim. Listen, man, listen, son. What do you mean? I'm a Methodist, man. I use the methods. Method man. So weird, yo. It is so fucking weird. Religion. And the Vatican still reigns supreme because God said so in the Bible. What? It's written in the book. The Son of God and his disciples ordained the Catholic Church supreme. Wow. Oh well. Snark, snark, hardy, har, har. Alright. I gotta be getting up out of here. Got an appointment in a minute. Go get this passport. Ooh, ooh. Boy, you gonna be traveling. Wait till next year. I'm out this bitch. Next year, man, I might move to goddamn Switzerland. I heard Norway's nice. Yeah, Norway seems nice. Just might try that shit out. Move to Japan. Who the fuck is texting me? I'm busy. I'm doing stuff right now. What are you doing? Stuff like, you know, stuff, art stuff. You know, like creative, like stuff like that. Too busy to talk to you. What do you want? I got stuff to do. Gotta go places and run errands and shit, man. Can't have everybody blowing my fucking phone up. Hey, Trap. What are you doing? Just doing stuff. What are you doing? Things. I'm doing things. Stuff and things, then. That's what we're into today. Stuff and things. Doing stuff and getting things done. I might have to put that on the t-shirt. Doing stuff and getting things done. What are you doing? Getting something done. What are you doing? Stuff. You know, just stuff. It's nice. Hit me up later when you're done. When you're done doing what you're doing. Alright. Da 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 da. Ha cha 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 cha. Alright, starting on this next piece. It's hot as fuck in here, yo. I swear. Yeah, I gotta be at the place at 11:30. Oh shit. So that's her face is coming alive. It's coming alive. It's coming alive. Damn. One of my homies trying to get me to go swimming. I'm like doing that shit today. I don't even really like swimming. I can't even swim that good, yo. I can swim just well enough to save my goddamn life. Believe that. I ain't getting in the water, I ain't gonna fucking drown. I'm not gonna drown. But I ain't gonna go do that shit for fun either. Shit. I don't go swimming for fun, like, ooh, let's go swimming. Like, nah. Then I get all that shit, all that chlorine and shit in my hair, and then my fucking hair puffs out, and I gotta go wash my hair and twist my hair, and I already went to the gym this morning. I don't need all that exercise, man. All that swimming, that shit make you tiresome, yo. Fuck all that shit. I ain't really good at that shit anyway. Not enough to like, oh, let's go swimming. Like, fuck that. Me and my girl travel when we go places, get a hotel room. If we get a room with a pool in it, I might go stick my feet in the water. Might wade out in that shit just because it's there. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, feel like going swimming. Like, nah. Nice thought though. At least somebody going to hang out with me today. Yo, me and the homies going swimming, man. Nah, not. I'd rather play video games, honestly. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Alright, turn the speaker off. Put my phone settings back to normal. Turn the laptop off. Yo, appreciate everybody coming here, stopping by, chilling with me, hanging out, and shooting the shit. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate the company. The conversation was dope. The comments, the compliments. For my new viewers in the stream, I appreciate y'all stopping through, checking out Art and Education. You already a different type of person. Motherfuckers don't watch no shit like motherfuckers don't watch no topless black dude with dreads paint on a stream that's called Art and Education. That shit don't happen every day. You're weird as fuck for doing that. But I like you. You're my kind of weird. Just stick with me here now. But oh yes, goddamn if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on PlayStation Network if you're on the PlayStation like I am. And remember, man, always stay positive. Positive thoughts, positive attitude. You put positive energy out in the universe will give you back positive feedback. That's just how shit works. Trust me, I practice this shit. And it happens like that. Just be positive, man. Just think positive. And you gotta train yourself, because the negative thoughts will creep in, and you know what I'm saying, doubt and all that shit, man. Fuck all that. Everything will be alright somehow. I don't know how, but it will. And I just smile and roll with the goddamn punches. You know what I'm saying? So positivity is the thought of the day, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep a positive attitude, keep a positive outlook on life. Once again, I can't say it enough, yo. I really do appreciate you guys stopping in here, just hanging out with me in the art studio while we do our thing. You know what I'm saying? Good conversation, a little bit of knowledge, and some beautiful art. I'll show y'all that last piece one more time. Oh shit! Wait a minute, let me get that. Oh, that shit's still glistening. Boy, that paint wet, boy. Well, look how wet that paint is. Ooh, boy, that shit wet. That's my last masterpiece. That's my favorite right there now. Damn, boy, I love that piece. Somebody asked, how much you want for it? I told him $8,000. And I feel like that's a steal. Anyway, peace. Until next time.